working with creating auto shapes. Go ahead and open up Microsoft Word. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start by saving this document. Just go ahead and up to the top left, click on the little floppy disk. Save it into your folder. You should name this document Creating Auto Shapes. And when you think of like auto shapes or just shapes in general, you can imagine that this lesson is going to focus on the drawing tools. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw some shapes. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab. I'm going to go to where it says Shapes. I'm going to grab the rectangle button. It's right up there in Recently Used Shapes or in Basic Shapes. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to go ahead and on my blank document, I'm going to drag down and to the right to create a rectangle that's 5 inches wide and a 1/2 inch tall. Now as you draw this first rectangle, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, because once I've drawn it, while it's still selected, I can go up here in the Drawing Tools Format tab and I can change it so it's exactly 5 inches wide and exactly 0.5 inches tall. Alright, once this rectangle has been created, you can see that we still have this Drawing Tools Format tab open. Go ahead and go back to the Insert Shapes section. Scroll down in the Basic Shapes and find the sun. Okay. You can see on my screen I've selected the sun. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go ahead and just, like above my rectangle that I drew, I'm going to draw a sun that's about a 1/2 inch wide. Okay. Now in general, that means that what we want is we're going to want this rectangle to be about a 1/2 inch wide and a 1/2 inch tall. And in the next directions in part 10, step 10, it actually asks us to make it a little bit narrower. It asks us to make it about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to set my height to 0.5 inches over here in my size section. And I'm going to set my width to 0.25. And you can see that's going to make my sun a little bit narrower. Okay, with that sun still selected, I'm going to go up here to my shape fill color. And I'm going to fill it with either like a bright yellow or gold color. Then I'm going to click on the rectangle that I created. I'm going to fill that to be like an aqua color. So I'm going to choose this as my aqua color. Either of these are fine. And you can choose, as we move through this lesson, you'll have the opportunity to choose which colors you want. The directions then say to draw 3 more rectangles. Okay? For each of these rectangles, we want them to be a 1/2 inch tall and 5 inches wide. But again, don't worry. If your rectangle that you draw is a larger size, you can easily go and change it under the Format tab where it says 5, or sorry, where it says Size, and you can change it to 1/2 inch tall and 5 inches wide. Okay? So again, it told me to make 3 more rectangles, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Insert Shapes. And then for each of those, I'm just going to verify that I've set it to the correct height and width. now we can take a second and we're going to fill the rectangles with color. To do that, remember, just click on each one, go to shape, fill color, and then again you can choose any colors you want. You could use lighter colors or more bold colors like I'm using. It's entirely up to you. Okay, now that I've drawn all 4 of my rectangles and I've added the color, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hold down Shift on my keyboard and I'm going to select each of the 4 rectangles. I'm going to go up to my toolbar. I should be in the Drawing Tools Format toolbar. I'm going to go to 3D Effects and I'm going to choose the very first one, 3D Style 1. Now you can see there's a lot of different choices here. We're going to stick with this one for now. And it's going to make each of my rectangles into a 3D box that looks like almost like a stack of books. So we've got they all look 3-dimensional now. Make sure you click off of the books to deselect them. Right click on the top book and scroll down to where it says Add Text. Okay. I'm going to go back to my Home tab. I'm going to change the font size to 20, and you can change the text to anything that you'd like. Something that's going to be easy to read, and ideally something that's going to look professional. But again, you have the opportunity right now to choose whichever text you would like. I'm going to give this one a shot. And the first thing we're going to type is children's space dash space 17%. Now if you don't like that look, you can always change it to something else. There's plenty of choices. Okay, so find one that you're happy with. I might stick with that for now. And now we're going to move on and we're going to add text to our other 4 text boxes. So you can just kind of follow along with me. I'm going to right click, add text. Okay, going to go back to my Home tab. I'm going to select the text I just did, which is right under recently used fonts. It's the most recent one. Make sure you change your font size to 20. And for our second box, we're going to fill it with adult nonfiction space dash space, and that's 16%. So what we're filling in here is what percentage of books that are being written are being purchased. So there's 17% of all books being purchased are children's books. 16% of all books that are being purchased are adult nonfiction. We'll add text to our third box. Again, make sure we go back, set the font, set the size to 20, stick with the same font for each of these. For this one, we're on adult fiction. This is the leading category. 40% of all books sold are adult fiction. Okay, I'm going to insert text again. Oops, sorry. I'm going to right click, add text, go back to my Home tab, select my font, select the size. And for this one, we're going to go ahead. This is going to be academic, professional books. That's 13%. Now, we want to take a second to stack these so that they look similar to like the sample image given on the handout. So to do that, I'm going to slide this up, and what you can see is going to happen is it's going to go above that box. All I have to do is right click, say order, send to back, and now that box will pop right under it so that they look like they're stacking. Now we want to try and line them up really carefully so that the front of both lines up. but we want to offset them slightly, each one, so that we can see it either projecting out to the right or the left, your choice. So I'm going to do that for each one. I'm going to drag it up, right click, order, send to back. I'll move it up, set it so that the front line's up, and then again just kind of offset it a little bit. Again, you can see this one's over it right now, so to fix that I go to order, send to back. It's a little bit too far back. Again, I'm going to offset it a little bit. You can have a little bit of fun here, move them around. And now we're done with those first 4 boxes. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create word art. I'm going to create some word art as a title for my document. Before I do that, I'm just going to grab my boxes. Again, you can do that by holding down Shift and then clicking on each of the boxes. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to move them down a little bit. We can fix that afterwards. Hold down Control and push Home on your keyboard. So hold down Control and push Home on your keyboard. Go up to the Insert tab and scroll over to where it says Word Art. When you see Word Art, there's a lot of options. For this assignment, we're going to use this one right here. It's like Word Art 22, I believe. Yep, Style 22. Click on that. And in that text box that pops up, we're going to type genre sales. Once you've typed genre sales, click OK. Make sure that you've selected the text. This is the word art text. And drag the lower right corner so that this is about 2 inches tall and 6 inches wide. So you know 6 inches is about here because you can see from the ruler above. We're going to just guess about 2 inches. I hit the width right on the nose, but I'm just going to adjust the height to say 2 in my Format tab. With the text still selected, or I guess in this case the object still selected, I'm going to set it so that the height of each of my letters is the same over here in my text box. Right here, even height. That'll make my lowercase letters a little bit taller. I'm also going to choose my spacing, and I'm going to call it loose. That's going to spread my letters out a bit. Excuse me. At this point, I'm going to change the shape of my word art. I can do that by going to where it says change shape, and I'm just going to select this very first one where it says curve up. And the last thing I'll do real quick is I'm just going to center that on the screen. Okay, that's going to give me an opportunity to again grab these rectangles that I created earlier, move them down so that they appear here below the title. And we're going to add 3 more rectangles to finish off the assignment. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to go to Insert, Shapes, Rectangle. I'm going to draw 3 more rectangles. That'll go relatively quickly. 1, 2, 3. The next thing that I would like to do is I'm just going to resize them so that they're exactly 1/2 inch tall. 5 inches wide. And I'm going to add a color to them that's going to complement my other ones. So again, I just go to shape fill. If I want more colors, I can bring this up. It'll give me like the full spectrum. And I'll throw in like that color. It's pretty bright. Put in a purple. And then again, just like I did before, this is repeating steps. I'm going to just highlight all of them by holding down Control and clicking on each rectangle. Go to 3D effects and add that 3D effect to them. I'm then going to need to move them up. Remember, right click, order, send to back. Take a second to make sure that they're lined up nicely. It's one of the key components to the assignment, is just showing that you can take the time to not only make these objects, but to present them in like a nice, clean, professional way. Last one. And then the very last step of our project today is just to add text and put in the rest of the books that we are going to have. So the first one is going to be religion, 6%. Again, make sure that you reset that so that it's the font that you've been using and font size 20. The next one is going to be scientific and technical type books. That's 3%. Again, just change the font, change the size. And our last book, add text. And this is just going to be other various books, 5%. So that gives us 7 rectangles, right, that we created into 3D shapes. We added word art at the top. You can take the other shape that you added, this little sun, and move it anywhere you want so that it's up there at the top and looks good to you, somewhere up at the top left. And then just make sure that you've saved your document and you submit it in Schoology. And one last thing, know that like any of the shapes that you insert here, when you go to insert shapes, any shape that you add, if you right click on that shape, you'll be able to add a text box and it'll format the text directly into that shape. Okay?